I am at the Indiana State Museum in Indianapolis, Indiana, to see what they have going on to celebrate the holidays. The museum puts on a special Christmas display called Celebration Crossing, and this event has some connections to the historic Ayres Department Store in Indianapolis, which was famous for its celebration of Christmas. They apparently made some significant changes this year, including an all-new miniature railroad ride, so we'll see how that is. In the atrium of the museum is Robert Indiana's Indiana obelisk. While Robert Indiana, who was from Indiana, is more famous for his love sculptures, he did also make this 100-foot tall 3-story Indiana sculpture. It makes for an awesome centerpiece to the Indiana State Museum. There are also some giant snowflakes and decorations hanging from the ceiling, along with lots of colorful lights up there. Children can meet Santa at the museum. Here is a Rumley oil pull tractor. These were produced from 1909 to 1930. Here's the Indiana obelisk from halfway up. This is the 92 County Tree, a giant Christmas tree adorned with ornaments depicting each of the state's 92 counties. Unfortunately, some of the ornaments are hard to see way up there, but some of these are pretty cool, depicting county landmarks. There's the Old Cathedral and George Rogers Clark Memorial in Vincennes, Knox County. There's the Fulton County Round Barn, and the world-famous Decatur County Courthouse with a natural tree growing out of the tower. I do have a video on that story. I also appreciate these asterisks of the native Hoosier author Kurt Vonnegut. These were basically his signature, and if you don't know, these are actually bee holes, and there are several of them all over the tree. That's great, and most people will not know that. They incorporated the historic facade of the Oster McCullough School into the museum. That's neat. During the holiday season, the museum has many homages to the old Ayres Department Store in Indianapolis, which was similar to New York's Macy's and Chicago's Marshall Field, and that store would have popular Christmas festivities. Unfortunately, it stopped and closed decades ago. But here at the museum is the original Santa Claus Express miniature train that used to go around the department store. This train was used at Ayres from 1958 until 1990. They also used this tiny train for a similar ride here at the museum until it was finally retired in 2005. That is a great piece of Indianapolis history. The State Museum also has an authentic animatronic Christmas window display from the department store. That is one of the main reasons why I came, but unfortunately it is out for repairs once again. So that is very disappointing. I'll hopefully see it one day. The Ayres Department Store also had a venerated tea room, which they have partially recreated in the museum, and it's only open during Christmas time. So I'm gonna eat at the Ayres Tea Room. The tea room originally opened at the Ayres Department Store in 1905. It was expanded on the 8th floor of the store in 1929 due to popularity, but it finally closed in 1990. There's a photograph of the tea room and the original staff in 1905, over 115 years ago. The Ayres clock is famous for a cherub that magically appears atop it every holiday season, then mysteriously vanishes on Christmas Eve. The cherub still appears on the clock to this day. This case displays many artifacts from the real Ayres Tea Room, including these silver-plated spoons. There's a silver-plated dish, and the one on the left was used in the employees' dining room. There's a bread basket, a finger bowl, a sherbet dish, and a henny penny chicken-shaped dish, which they would use to serve children chicken pot pie. And here are some more pieces from the original tea room. I will say it's not quite as fancy here. This fancy Steinway baby grand piano was not used in the original tea room, but it is from the old Indiana Governor's Mansion. It had been there since the early 1930s. Governor Mitch Daniels donated it to the tea room. Here is a photograph of the tea room at Christmas time in some unknown year. And here's a photograph from the 1980s, not long before its closure. So the recreated tea room in the museum is fairly small, but still has a classy design to it. I really like how these fake windows seem to face a building across the street. That's well done. There's some vintage Ayres fashion ads in here. It is a buffet style restaurant and there's a few options. Of course I got the most childish food possible and everything was good. Also at the original tea room and this one, there was a VILP toy box at the exit, and well-behaved children could pick a present out of the box. The main event of Celebration Crossing is the Snowfall Express, a miniature railroad ride inside the museum, and it has drastically changed from the old version. This Snowfall Express is totally new this year, including the train itself, along with the displays, areas, and theming. It takes up a lot more room than the old one, which used to just go around in a circle in a Christmas themed room. It also doesn't have a track and drives on its own. Apparently this new train is more ADA compliant, and the course is more expansive, themed around a winter forest with animals. It's kinda like a mini dark ride, so we'll see how this is. So that was good. It had some nice touches and animated features. Even though this is definitely kid-oriented, it's worth doing if you visit the museum this time of year. Now I'm actually going to breeze through the museum exhibits. I haven't been here in quite a while. It looks like Fred the Mastodon is covered in a protective cloak, as this section of the museum is undergoing renovations. The geology room in there is being totally redone. Over the past several years, they have totally redesigned almost the entire natural history section of the museum, and most of the changes are definitely improvements. This Ice Age tunnel is new. That's cool. There's also a muskox and a bunny up there. Here's an exhibit on the Pipe Creek sinkhole, where the remains of a prehistoric rhinoceros was found. All of this Ice Age era section is new, and it is very well done, combining themed, visually appealing aesthetics and interesting exhibits. There's a saber-toothed cat skeleton. That jaguar is eating some sort of peccary. There are some crevices in the walls with prehistoric skulls in them. There's some ground sloths. That's a very impressive collection of mastodon bones. And there's a mastodon taking a bath. Overall, I'm really impressed with these new renovations of the natural history exhibits. The prehistoric Native American display has also been reimagined. It still has a decent amount of artifacts, but instead of the old statues they had in here, they use a screen projection now. I'm excited to see the natural history area once it's fully renovated and reopened. Here's a Foucault's pendulum. And I'm going to quickly go through the history displays. There's the first Governor Jonathan Jennings' side table and an original state legislator's desk. This log cabin features some artifacts of Abraham Lincoln, who grew up in southern Indiana. That is a pretty awesome relic, a fragment of a young Abraham Lincoln's rail splitter. I do want to point out that the Indiana State Museum, along with the Allen County, Indiana Public Library, now own the Lincoln Financial Collection of Abraham Lincoln-related artifacts. The collection used to make up the impressive Lincoln Museum in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which sadly closed back in 2008, and I never got to see it. But they have all the stuff now. They had a special exhibit on it many years ago. But I really wish they would display more of that collection permanently, as it is one of the best. Here's a canal lock. Canal infrastructure put Indiana in a lot of debt. The historical exhibits of the Indiana State Museum are great and expansive, and I will do a full tour of this museum at some point, but not today. Here are two types of early automobiles by Midwestern natives Elwood Haynes and John Lambert. Haynes actually invented one of the first automobiles in world history in Kokomo, Indiana back in 1894, and produced luxury autos in the early 1900s. This is a 1910 Haynes runabout that even had a foldable mother-in-law seat back in the trunk. And this is a 1910 Lambert. John Lambert of Ohio invented the first practical gasoline automobile. Also, a man named Sylvanus Freelove Bowser of Fort Wayne, Indiana, invented the kerosene pump in 1885. Here's a 1914 updated version he made for cars. Again, this is an excellent museum, and I will be making a full video tour of it at some other time, as there is a lot to see here. I did enjoy visiting Celebration Crossing, riding the new train, and dining at the Ayres Tea Room. I wish that automaton window display was out and working today, but I guess I'll have to come back some other year. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, and subscribe. Also check out my other videos on Christmas attractions and events, along with all sorts of museums, roadside attractions, national parks, and more in Indiana and across the country. Thanks for watching.